rocking with me throughout this process. Yo, what's going on, everybody? You already know who it is. You already know what time it is. It's the one and only. It's your boy, Honcho J23. Good afternoon, good evening to everybody all across the world, all across the nation. I want to thank you guys for tapping in with me and rocking with me throughout this process, throughout the journey. As I always let you guys know, shouts out to people already tapping in. First and foremost, let me just say welcome you guys to the Independent Scene episode 108. You know what I'm saying? Your boy has been doing big things, you know what I'm saying, trying to make sure that he gets things straight and trying to make sure I keep the show rolling. But today we got a very special guest. It's a guest that, I've been really close to, who's also a real good friend of mine. She has truly trailblazed throughout the Carolinas, and I'm so honored and happy to be able to chop it up with her on this episode. This is a moment in the making that I've been waiting on. So hopefully, I'm gonna send her this invite and we're gonna get the show rolling. Hey, God, mommy, what's up, Mr. Dog Eugene? What's going on? What's going on, brother? You know what I'm saying? Y'all make sure y'all go tap in with my brother Dog Eugene. You know what I'm saying? He's the husband of the real comedian. Y'all make sure y'all go tap in with him and his wife. They be promoting some real good stuff. Make sure y'all tap in and follow them. You know what I mean? But yeah, like I said, we definitely gotta, a good episode today. I sent the invite for my guest, but I'm waiting for her to come into the building. But let me see. I'm gonna have to probably, okay. Most definitely, bro. I got you. Okay, so, okay, I'm waiting for her to tap in, and then we're gonna get started. I'm waiting for her to tap in real quick. I may have to go and get my other device so that way I can try to communicate with her from the other device since I'm on my phone. But yeah, give me 1 second, y'all. Let me get my other device. Oh, man. Okay, there she go. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, my guest is in the building. Without further ado, episode 108, brought to you by your boy Hunter J and the one and only Mir.I.Am, K9 7.5. Let's do it, y'all. Let's get this. Yes. Mir, what's happening?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well.
That's good. Listen, first of all, let me just say I am truly, truly honored to have you finally on this platform. I've been trying to get you for a long time, so I am truly ready for this moment. I've been
I'm
waiting on this.
here.
I've been waiting on, huh?
I said I'm here.
Yes. So, first of all, you know what I'm saying? Let the people know, for people that don't know you, please, let the people know who you are, and we're going to get right into it.
Sure. My name is Mir.I.Am. I am a radio personality, a host. I'm the founder and CEO of Carolina Waves. I'm also a radio personality on K97.5. I host and curate a lot of shows and just kind of help put plays in work for upcoming artists. I'm also a producer and I just, try to move and help out as many people as I can along the way.
Most definitely, most definitely. Well, first and foremost, like I said, thank you for the introduction, and thank you for being on the show. So I gotta start off with with the first question, that being Carolina Waves. How did Carolina Waves and the whole movement come about?
You gotta go back to about 5 years. About 5 years ago, I was working for K97.5, and we got a new program director. Um, who wanted to be more active and involved in the local scene.
Okay.
Around that time, he decided that he wanted to revive an old show that they used to do called 919 Radio that basically featured upcoming artists. Show was before my time, and I think it was curated and put together by Nikki Nicole and Wade Banner.
Okay.
Um, it wasn't something that I was a part of. Around that same time, the Durham Hip Hop Summit, which was this music festival and conference, was going on in Durham,
Mm-hmm.
and the station had partnered to co-present it. And at the last minute, they were like, we need some hosts from the station to be a part of it, and I volunteered to do it. And then that really was my main introduction. And I had a little bit of a foundation from my days in college radio, and I knew some upcoming artists from when I worked at NC State WKNC. But that was really my main introduction to so many artists in the scene when I hosted that Durham Hip Hop Summit. I mean, I met at that time Will Wildfire, De Niro Farrar, G. Yamazawa, Wells, Danny Blaze,
Mm-hmm.
Easy, so many artists that were kind of moving. And so I was just like, oh, this is cool. And like I said, around the same time they brought back that show, I ended up being the one to host it because I had interest in hosting it.
Okay.
And eventually that morphed into Carolina Waves a little bit later,
Okay.
because I had done 919 radio for probably about a year. And then
Okay.
I was like, I want to change it into something different because I feel like the talent as a whole in North Carolina needs to be the focus and not just the 919. And
Mm-hmm.
also, I wanted it to be an umbrella by which I could do a lot of other things
Mm-hmm.
individually, like shows, concerts, festivals, etc. So I
Mm-hmm.
was just like, what name can I come up with to kind of brand this comprehensively? And I came up with the name Carolina Waves. I got they were cool with me renaming 919 Radio that, and so yeah, that's pretty much how it all came together.
Okay, okay. Well, I definitely appreciate that that background of that because for as long as I've known you, I never really knew the history of Carolina Ways. So for you to share that with us is definitely so some really dope info. So let me ask you this because you get quite the flag as far as the props is with everything that you do. What's it been like receiving the response from everybody that knows you, that loves you, and that supports you 1,000%? What's that response been like?
I mean, the response is mixed. It's mostly positive because I choose not to really focus on the negative.
Right,
Everybody that does anything, they have haters, and if you help 100 local artists, is 100 more that you didn't help, and those people, have something to say and they want to complain, and you're not doing enough because you didn't specifically touch them.
right,
So, I mean, but the love and the feedback has definitely been dope. I get DMs all the time from people who are just like, "Thank you so much." Like, if it wasn't for this platform, I literally would not have anywhere to go.
right,
Like, because of this platform, I've been connected with so many artists, and so many opportunities have come from it. I mean, people have been signed to labels from coming to Carolina Wave shows, management contracts. They've gotten booked at venues, booked at other big important gigs, and so
right,
a lot of great things have transpired, and as a result of Carolina Wave. So yeah, I truly appreciate the love, and it's real, and I believe that it's that way because that's how I am. Like, I
right,
only function in an authentic and real space.
right,
If I'm not feeling it, and if I'm not passionate about it or genuine about it, I don't do it.
right. That's
It's literally
understandable.
that simple.
That's understandable. And and again, and it's wild because again, it's so many people, that have been rocking with you for so long, whether that be in radio or just in person, and even for me, I've learned so much from you. And so, anytime that, I'm able to, learn from you and, you be able to put me on certain events and, help you with this and that. That really means a lot. So I thank you for, giving me the knowledge that you give me from time to time and really teaching me, how to, perfect my craft even more. You know what I mean?
Of course. And, I appreciate all the support and love that you show, when you help out at the events and when you pull up and when you post flyers, like it doesn't go unnoticed. You definitely are somebody that, I've come to appreciate and, you definitely support so much. And it's not the same if I don't see Huncho J
I'm
in the
telling
front
you.
row. It's just not the same.
Right. And it's crazy because, there have been times and it's not so much that I'm trying to be cocky, but it's crazy because I be telling people, like people that have seen me interact with you and that have seen me work with you, they're like, yo, how were you able to do such and such? How are you able to work with Mir? And I'm like, listen, this is a thing that, I had to be, like you said, be consistent with. You know what I'm saying? Because that's one thing that you look at is consistency. The more that you're consistent and the more that your delivery and all of that is up to par, then you know what I'm saying,
Hey,
what's up, Key? It's a strong possibility,
awesome.
but at the same
Yeah.
time, it's also one of those things where, you're very rare to find, if that makes any sense,
It makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. All right,
I
so
tell people all the time, and this is not a flex or nothing like that, because I'm humble, but at the same time, people got to understand. Once I stop what I'm doing, or once it's finished, there will be no replacement. There will be no another me,
right,
because of the
exactly,
history that I have. Like,
right,
going back to WKNC, I've been doing this for over 10 years. I know so many people from back when I was in college radio, like
right,
Mez and a lot of people that came up, Snipe,
right,
doing that. And then, I literally love and I'm passionate about helping local artists. And I
right,
have a platform on a commercial radio station, which 95% of commercial radio stations don't have a show dedicated to independent artists.
right,
And so to be able to, number one, have that platform is rare in itself. And to number two, have somebody that actually gives a fuck and that is, truly passionate and professional.
mm-hmm.
It's a very rare thing. Like, I know it's so many different sides to North Carolina hip hop, between the trap, the boom bap, the backpackers, everything in between. I know all those sides. Like, I know the Foreign Exchange. I know Fonte Little Brother. I've interviewed them. I've interacted with them. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
To the people that are coming up, the Sauce Packs and
Right,
the Baby and Stunner. Like, I know it's so many different sides.
right,
And there are people who know one side, but they don't know the other side. And they don't
exactly,
they don't have that history and those relationships. So it's
right,
just different. Like, there's not gonna be another me.
right,
Sorry.
exactly. And like,
Often imitated, never duplicated.
right,
It just is what it is.
and this is why, again, I tell people all the time, and I'm pretty sure you've heard me call you this, but you're literally the GOAT of North Carolina. Like, when I tell you, like, I remember when I first met you, and I don't know if we had the opportunity to talk at the time that I met you, but like I literally had to like sit back and watch how you work, and I'm like, yo, like I'm really liking how she moves and how she operates. So like to now be where I am, like all of that also comes from you as well, because I've had so much, advice from you and tips from you, and it's just like, yo, like shows like this wouldn't even be possible if I didn't, take the advice from you. So definitely, again, kudos to you for, being who you are and really putting artists out here on this platform that you have out here. So
Of
the
course, of
so
course.
so the next thing I gotta tap into, that something else that you've done that's been that really went unprecedented, is this Black as Fuck challenge. Now, listen, I have heard the song at least 20 times, and that's just off GP.
Just 20?
And
Man, I heard that song so many times. I mean, because I have to look at stuff and approve
right,
stuff. Man, I know everybody's verse word for word. I was just
it's
like, yo, like, if Tag'em don't show up,
right.
hi. White Lives Matter. There, I said it. You happy? Like, I done listened to that
Exactly.
shit so many times. Like, it's crazy.
But see, look, and it's crazy because I say 20 times, but literally, like any chance that I get, like because I'm usually on my phone anyway, so any chance I get, and I'm scrolling through my playlist, I'm literally clicking this song because I'm like, yo, you really put that song together with some of the most dopest of the dopest artists
Whew.
on that card. So I must ask you, Mir, like, what was that process like, putting that lineup together, working with Imani Presley, working with Digi R&B, and again, working with people like Tag Up and Two Fly KNG and Juice Lord and Lena Jackson? I mean, take us through that process. I mean, what made you say, okay, you know what, this is going to be completely it for Carolina?
Take you through the process. Well, it goes back probably about 3 months at the height of the civil unrest with Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor. And, you know, all the protests were going on. And I was just like, okay, I went to one of the protests, but I was just like, this is not how I'm the most effective given my skill set.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
protest, like, there are different forms of protest. Music is protest. Artivism is a real thing, whether it be, you know, through actual physical art or through music, or if you're someone that is an orchestrator or someone who's a speaker. Like, there are different forms of that. So I was just like, based on my skill set, what can I do to lend my voice to this movement that makes the most sense?
Right.
And, you know, one of my skill sets is the fact that I'm a dope curator. I know how to put artists together. I know how to put people together that make sense. And so I was just like, okay, let me spearhead and put together a cipher of dope artists who I know are going to have something important and impactful to say.
Right.
And not just a normal artist that I'm just like, yo, write a 16 about Black Lives Matter. No, I wanted artists that specifically on a normal day, if you listen to their music from 2 or 3 years in the past or in the future, they're talking about these same things that affect Black people.
Right.
So it was a no-brainer for me to get Juice Lord because that's literally his bag. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
He's the Roddy Conscious rapper.
Right.
And then Lena Jackson, you know, she's definitely a dope lyricist who on any given day is talking about real emotional subjects. Tag him every single event. He doesn't have any music out yet, but, you know, he performs at Carolina Waves events, and all his music has some type of message and meaning with it. The same with Two Fly King, and Two Fly King's only 19, so I was just like, I want somebody young from Gen Z to represent for them,
right,
so people can know that, like, you know, the younger generation, they have artists that are dope and in their bag too,
right,
and, you know, that can spit and have a message. So yeah, it was just a matter of finding the right artist, which I did, and then after that I had to find the right beat. I hit up Chill Woods and Imani Presley. Imani had just happened to go live on Facebook playing some beats, and I happened to hear one of the beats, and I was just like, I feel like this is it. I sent it to Juice and Lena. They were like, yeah, that's fire. And then I hit up Torch Media,
okay,
which is Pat Lincoln.
Okay.
He's done a lot of my recaps in the past. Any dope video that comes out of the Carolinas, Pat Lincoln has shot. I don't know if y'all saw Rhapsody on the BET Awards, but when she was in that cipher, he shot that.
Wow. I would have never known that.
Yeah. So I hit him up and I was like, I want to shoot a BET Award style cipher. You know how on the Hip Hop Awards they had those ciphers?
Right.
I was like, so I was like, I want it in black and white. I want it shot with the same energy of the BET Awards. Now, what's funny is that when I had scheduled the studio time, because we did it at Rollywood Studios,
right.
Nobody had heard each other's verse before.
Right.
They hadn't rehearsed before. And what I decided to do was I wanted to release it as a cipher video, but I also wanted to release it as a single so that people could stream the music and then it could go to benefit different various charities like Democracy Green, Advance Carolina, Emancipate NC. So we had to record the track first, and I had put the order in advance. I was like, all right, Fly King is going first, then Tag him, then Lena, and Juice is going to close it out. But nobody had heard each other's verses, so it's just really an organic and powerful moment that the way that the song ended up coming together, because if you listen to it like you have, you know how every verse kind of builds on the previous verse. And it kind of starts off calm, like Two Fly King is like, all right, y'all, he's asking. He's like, we need these things. Y'all got it. You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly.
Give us reparations. And Tag him comes in. He's more agitated. He's like, all right, I'm warning y'all. Lena's like, yo, you got one more chance. And then by the time Juice comes, he's kicking in the door and he's taking. So it was just, you know, it was just kind of magical that it happened that their verses went together so well, and then also that's how the video was shot. With the way that Torch shot it is like it's not a lot of camera movement, and it's more calm. By the time you get to Lena and Juice, the camera's all everywhere,
Right.
and it's a lot of movement and passion behind it. So yeah, that's ultimately how it came about. I got to give a big shout out to Not Yet Famous Podcast and Torenzo Brands and P Power and Progress, because they helped, with some of the financials behind it. But yeah, ultimately after that, I found a dope graphics guy, and I had a vision. He put together the vision, and everything, from that point was just a matter of executing.
Right. And again, I definitely appreciate you for that, because, I think on behalf of myself and all the artists that have worked with you in some way, form, or capacity, we genuinely, wholeheartedly thank you for putting something like that together, because with everything that's going on, to, be able to take a song like that, especially with everything that's going on within Black Lives Matter, and it really just do unprecedented numbers like that, has really been that one of those songs that I'm like, yo, this is going to continue to be played through the end of time. So it's again.
I hope so, because that was the purpose behind it. There just has not been a lot of music that has documented and timestamped this moment in history from younger artists.
Right.
When you look back in the 60s and the 70s, you had I'm Black and I'm Proud, War, What's
Right.
Going On,
Exactly.
so much music from all these legends that's still relevant today somehow.
Right.
So, but today's generation hasn't really seized the moment to speak on record and make music that actually in 20 years you'll be able to listen to what the heck was going on in 2020. So, Nina Simone once said it's an artist's duty to reflect the times. And so that really was the mindset behind this whole movement, is to make sure that we are all a part of what's going on musically, so that it's documented.
Right, most definitely. I definitely agree. Shouts out to everybody coming in the chat right now. What's good with everybody? All right, so I got to talk to you also about the obvious, about this whole BET Awards thing, because you're somebody that I know for a fact you tries to go every year. So I got to know your perspective on not attending this year's award show despite the pandemic, as they say. I mean, what was your initial reaction to that?
I was hurt. I was sad because, I only really go to LA once a year, and it's during the BET Awards. And Brian Dawson, who I go with, he has this big rooftop party that all the DJs and influencers come to, a bunch of artists.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it was not being able to experience the radio room. And for those of you who don't know what the radio room is, basically just imagine a huge room, and the main personality from each radio station in the top 40 markets is there. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about, Hot 97, Power 106, 102 Jam, like every single major radio station across the country.
Right.
From stations in DC, LA, Atlanta, all their jocks are in one room. And right. What happens is they each have their own table, and right. It's set up to broadcast live. Right. And from that point, since all the artists are in town, the artists will come in and they will hit whatever table and market they want to interview with. So like I've been in there when Chris Brown came through, Cardi B, Migos, Maxwell. Mm-hmm. I mean, every artist that you can think of, and they basically just sit around at whatever tables they like. Last year, I met Megan Thee Stallion. So many people, like right. Wife and Lucci, Moneybag Yo, Tory Lanez bitch ass was in there. So like it was just every game, Rick Ross, Wale. Right. I met Robin Gibbons. Like wow. Robin Gibbons, she's a freaking legend.
Exactly.
So it's a really dope experience, and then going to the actual awards, like I've been in the radio room the last 3 to 4 years, but last year was my first year actually going to the awards. Mm-hmm. And that was a show that Cardi B opened up, Mary J. Blige did her tribute, the Baby performed, and the venue is not as big as it looks on TV. Like there's no bad seat. but I
Right.
had pretty good seats that they gave us, by being with the radio station or whatever.
Right.
And I'm telling you, man, that shit was fun as hell. It was
I'm
so
sure.
much fun
Cause,
to
cause
experience. So I was heartbroken.
Right, right. Because I was gonna say, man, because and again, for everybody that follows you and and that sees you, we see we see these photos, and the moment you post them, it's like, yo, like Miriam's talking with such and such, and it's like, yo, like so. I know for a fact, even for you, it must be one of those experiences where it's like, yo, I am really doing this type of thing, huh?
Hold on, let me disconnect my Wi-Fi.
Okay,
Okay, sorry.
yeah, you
Okay.
good. But yeah, like I know, like I said, that experience for you must be amazing. Any chance that you get to be a part of that, you know what I mean? So like, so now I want to kind of go back a little bit. So so how long have you been working with K97.5, and how did you get that start?
I've been working there since 2013,
Okay, and so
and what happened was, at the time I was working for WKNC for like years,
okay,
which is NC State's radio station. So, it's pretty hard to break into commercial radio. So, I had just been like surfing the internet and the web, trying to find different radio stations and applying, sending in my air check, and an air check is basically like a 3 to 4 minute demo tape
right,
of you on the air, and also finding program directors and emailing them. So what happened was, hold on one second.
okay,
Hey, I ordered. The name is Mimi. Yes. Sorry, my pizza's been here waiting. I was like, let me
okay,
get it before they think I'm not coming, and I already paid for it.
right,
Um,
exactly,
so basically, yeah, it was just the process of like sending out like hundreds of emails and emailing radio stations, finding who the program directors were, and
right,
trying to get my voice heard. One day, about 6 months after I had sent my information to K97.5, I got a call from the program director. And he just was like, come in for an interview. And then when I got there, he was like, your air check was one of the funniest that I've heard in a long time. He was like, the very moment that an opportunity opened up to hire somebody, like you were the one I wanted to hire. So basically, he just like offered me the job on the spot. And that was
okay,
just, from a seat that I had planted months earlier.
right,
And he ended up, messing with me. So that's how I ended up getting there. So I always tell people, to make sure that you plant seeds, make
right,
sure that you, when you're trying to get opportunities, that you do what you're supposed to do, but also go the extra mile, because I applied on the website like I was supposed to, did everything, but then I went the extra mile, found who the program director was, emailed him directly and personally, because a lot of times you can get caught in the chain. You can't make it past HR. They might see
right,
your resume and not
exactly,
see any experience on there, but somebody that has an ear for talent, they might hear something in you that they think is special, which is, what happened for me.
right,
Because
right.
if I had just applied online, I would have never gotten a call back.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Like, and it's crazy because, like I said, people that initially hear you, if people that don't know you, they're like, "Oh, that's Miriam for K97.5," and then it's like, once they meet you in person, it's like, "Oh, snap!" Like, I hear you all the time. I listen to you all the time. Blah blah blah. So I know, once again, that's why I say I know that response is usually, it's crazy, but at the same time, it's like, okay, it's humbling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know.
It's cool. It's, I get recognized in weird places that I least expect. Like, I think I went to get paint one time in a Sherwin-Williams, and they and he heard my voice, and he instantly recognized it
Uh
from
huh.
from WKNC. So I mean, a lot of people, about the same amount of people recognize me from WKNC as K97.5. It's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah,
And I have a lot of people who were in prison that listen to WKNC, and
mm-hmm.
they've gotten out over the years, and they'll come to events, and they'll be like, thank you, you helped me while I was in prison, and all kind of stuff.
Right, right. So now I want to ask you this because because again, people that follow you, you've interviewed a lot of different people, and also you've interviewed also actual like stars and celebrities. But what I want to know is, even for you, do you have you had a favorite guest or artist that you've interviewed, or is it kind of neutral?
Nah, it's directly in my Twitter bio. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Thank you. Got it. Um, Whitney Houston.
Okay.
Whitney, mother effing Houston.
Okay. Okay. So what? So
And it's not even close.
huh?
She's my all time.
Okay. Okay. So I'm sure that experience must have been amazing too to get that opportunity to really talk with her and really pick her brain. I mean, was as they say, was she the Whitney that we seen on TV, or was it more of another, or was it more of a different thing?
Um, she was pretty much as I expected her to be because she's, normally she's just a chill person.
Right.
And so I actually got to interview her in person.
Right.
I'm literally like not even 4 feet from her, and we're sitting at a table. And it wasn't a very long interview, maybe about 5 minutes, but we just talked about the event that she was at, which was an event that her sister-in-law Pat Houston did. She
Right.
talked about raising Bobby Christina and what it's like to be a mom. And it was
Right.
funny because Bobby Christina called during our chat, and then she answered the phone. But she was just really cool, chill. She was saying how that she was hungry, she wanted something to eat. Like she was just very chill and cool and down to earth, and
Right.
she just had a special air about her.
Right.
Just being in her presence, it was just a unique experience. Like you knew you were in the presence of somebody special. And after the fact, I asked her if I could hug her, and she was like, "Yeah, baby." And I hugged her, and I told her I loved her. And the reason that the interview is special is the most special, and nothing will ever top it. It was one of the last interviews she did before she died, which was like 4 months before she passed away.
Right.
And because she's one of the top 5 selling artists of all time.
Right.
Her records speak for itself. She's the most awarded female of all time. Like her history is in the history book. So you only really have a once in a lifetime artist like that.
Right.
Right. A once and forever type artist like that. But not just that, like what she meant to me. Like I've loved Whitney Houston since I was like 5 years old.
Right.
And through all the challenge, like I remember her at her best, and I remember her when she started falling into drugs, and like I would always pray for her and root for her. Like she's just been somebody that's just been a part of my heart, since, like I said, since I was 5 years old. So 20 years later, to be able to sit across from her and interview her, like that meant like the world to me. And so
Right.
nothing will ever surpass. I don't care if it's Beyonce, Jay-Z,
Right.
Obama, like nothing based on who she was as an artist and what she meant to me personally, nothing will ever surpass that. And she met my expectations.
Most definitely, but definitely shouts out to the whole entire Houston family and the late great Whitney Houston. You know what I'm saying? Definitely a trailblazer in this business. All right, so my next thing I want to tap into, as it relates to this whole pandemic, not being able to, do what you do best. I mean, what has that been like for you?
And it's rough. I gotta tell you, it's rough because I mean, Jay, we a family. You know
Right,
what I'm
we
saying?
are.
The Carolina Way family, we are a family. We see each other every couple of weeks.
We
I
are.
literally have never gone this long since I've known Red Jones without seeing him this long. And we've known
Right.
each other like 2, almost 3 years. Like
Right.
it's like clockwork. We normally see each other every 1 to 2 weeks, multiple times in a week. And I typically do 3 to 4 shows a month, but between 2 and 4 shows a month, and a lot of the regulars come out.
Yeah.
And so it's been very different, not having that energy because ain't nothing like the energy at a Carolina Wave show, and everybody always shows love. So it's
Exactly.
been very different, and I definitely miss everybody. I miss the atmosphere. I miss the performances. I miss the jokes. So
Yeah.
I'm ready for this to definitely be over so we can get back to it because it's always a fun, intense experience.
Exactly. And and I think and that's one of the things that I've told people, because again, being a part of Carolina Ways and being a part of that family, and really rocking with everybody, I've learned so much from so many different people. And again, with you being the creator of Carolina Ways, it's like, yo, like you really do learn a lot, you know what I'm saying, with them being in the family. So like, people tell me all the time, like, yo, I miss being on stage, I miss performing, and things like that. So like you said, like I am definitely ready for us to, for us as a family to get back to what we do best and really, what I'm saying, put on shows, because like it's nothing like I mean, this whole virtual thing is cool, but like it's nothing compared to in person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just a different energy in person. And even I did my first event since February. Last Thursday I did the live stream with the Black AF artist, and it was dope. I loved every moment of it. I loved the production. They were so professional. Shouts out to Cat's Cradle. But again, that's that exchange, that energy
Mm-hmm.
exchange was missing, from people in the faces in the crowd, and the
Right.
interaction. So um hopefully we can get back to it soon. I'm not rushing it because I don't want to risk anyone, including myself.
Right.
And I have a lot of digital projects that are in the works that are going to be able to provide different platforms for artists that I'll be launching over the next few weeks. So just pivoting. And it's funny because even before the beginning of this year, I don't know if you saw on Facebook, I was like, I'm not gonna be doing as many shows and open mics,
I do.
like,
I do remember that post. I do remember
so
that.
I was planning on already pivoting away from that and working more independently with a couple of select artists, running
Mm-hmm.
their campaigns, putting out digital content, and focusing on merch. That was already the purpose at the beginning of this year. And then Corona happened and just kind of expedited and sped everything up a little bit more. So,
Right.
when things go back to normal, I probably will extend and do open mics and shows more, because we basically didn't have this whole year.
Right.
But after that, I'll probably pull back and scale back a little bit more. But like I said, I definitely am going to continue to do shows, probably just not as many, because I did like 40 shows last year in
Right.
different cities. We were all over the place. And this year, so far, I've done 4.
Okay.
So it's because of Corona. So it's a huge change, and it's a big difference.
Right, most definitely. Now, you've been, I'm pretty sure you have, and we all have our personal favorites, but what I want to know from you,
This question.
what I want to know from you, what I want to know from you is, you being Mir, like, who has been your favorite out of all of Carolina that if you had to put it in either a top 3 or a top 5, like, who would you say is your top 5 right now?
Right now, or like,
Or no, not even right now, of all time. If you had to put it into perspective.
this is in no particular order. De Niro Ferrar.
Okay.
I first saw him in 2015 at the Durham Hip Hop Summit, and I have like been in love with him ever since. Like,
Right.
as a performer and as an artist, like he just has it. He is a star. He is a phenomenal performer. His stage presence and crowd engagement and crowd control is just spectacular.
Right.
So
Right.
I love me some De Niro Ferrar. Like, whatever he needs from me, aside from sexual favors. Um, and maybe so. I don't know. You might catch me. I don't. He is a snack. Okay.
Right. Right.
Um. So De Niro Ferrar and Juice Lord.
Okay.
Obviously Miriam. Like,
Most
he's
definitely.
crazy talented. From the moment I saw him, I didn't understand him. I
Right.
was just like, "What is this? This is different."
Right.
Um. But like, he's just one of the most consistent performers I've ever seen. I've never seen him have a bad show, and I've probably seen at least 100 shows.
Right.
He's always consistent. He's always engaging. He always has fans after the show. And for him to talk about what he talks about and to be able to have people connect with him like they do, he's unique and one of a kind.
Right.
Of course, Imani Presley.
Most definitely.
I love Imani for so many different reasons, but if we're
Right.
just gonna stick to performance, the first time I saw her perform was at the 2017 Carolina Music Awards pre-show that I curated,
I remember that.
and I didn't really want to book her because I didn't know her. I was
Right.
just sticking with artists that I knew, and the way that I curate that show is it's from people who are nominated for awards, and
Right.
so I was looking over the R&B categories, and Omar, who's in charge of the Carolina Music Awards, he was like, I think Imani was trying to get on or emailed or whatever.
Right.
And so I followed up and I looked on YouTube to see because I like to gauge, when I curate a show, it got to be the best artist.
It has to.
Open
Most
mic is
definitely.
one thing. Everybody can get a shot at open mic. But if I'm putting on a show that's like, look at this lineup, it has to be a dope lineup.
Most
So
definitely.
my curated shows are hard to get on because I'm very picky in particular. Um, and so I looked her up on YouTube. I found some footage and I was like, oh, she's kind of dope. Oh, she's playing all these instruments. Like she's kind of
Right.
cool. So
Right.
I hit her up
Right.
and I was like, hey, would you like to perform? And she was like, yes. So she comes in a sound check, fast forward the day of, and she has on like this cute little velour suit or something like that. And she gets up and she sound checks with her guitar and stuff.
Right.
And she just, and very professional and cool. Fast forward a couple hours later to the show, she started out with like some Prince and like was on the keyboard,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
literally everybody, like the hairs on everybody's arms were just like, who is this? Like,
Right. Exactly.
she's incredible. And
Right.
this was before, and she's like 10 times better than that now. But
Right.
even then, like, it was just like, oh my God, who is this?
Right. Yeah.
Like her stage presence is phenomenal. She plays multiple instruments like drums, guitar, bass, keys,
Exactly.
guitar.
Yes.
The voice, she knows how to do the voice box. She's a dope singer, songwriter, producer. And so she is just phenomenal. I love her.
Most definitely.
Who else would I say are like my ultimate favorites? I love Nia Well. She's from Greensboro.
Okay.
I've only been able to get her on how many shows? Two shows, because she is very elusive. Like, if
Right.
you ever see me get Nia Wells on the show, you better be at that show because that
Right.
shit was not easy.
Exactly. Exactly.
But she's like, when it comes to voice and vocals, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, her voice is so clear and pure like a bell,
Right.
but she has so much stage presence, and she's someone who dances,
Mm-hmm.
but she doesn't have to dance. She can perform an acoustic set and it'd be just as good. Or she can have come through with her dancers and it'd be just as good. She's
Right.
just a phenomenal artist. She's like super young. She's like 20, 22 or 23, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And she has one of the best voices that I've ever heard. And her stage presence and she's just a star. Like, it just beams from her. Some people got it, some people don't. She got it.
Right.
And the last one, I would say she moved away. I mean, I have so many famous performers, but Jay Safina.
Okay.
I think Jay Safina was on the Carolina Wave circuit kind of before you came around,
Okay.
back in like 2016, 2017, and then she moved to LA.
Okay.
But oh my gosh, like she her personality on stage
Mm-hmm.
mixed with like how powerful her voice is and how like she just opens herself up. She's so transparent, and I love the transparency about her. I love the tone and quality of her voice and the power, and I just like, she just makes me smile when she performs, and she makes me feel her.
Right.
So other notable mentions, without going into too much detail, I love watching None After Hours perform. I
Most definitely.
love 3 a.m. Sound. I love Lord Fest, aka Professor Tune. I love Danny Blaze. I love Sauce Pack.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
Um, and the baby is dope too.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, speaking of which, you mentioned the baby, but I want to also mention another artist who goes by Little Baby. He recently put out a project or a single entitled "The Bigger Picture," and I'm sure you've heard the song over multiple times.
Yep.
Of course, you play it on the radio and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
what was your response to a song like that? Saying that he put out and was really putting his heart into it.
First of all, you're a really good interviewer, and you've come a long way. Like,
Thank
I'm
you.
really proud of you.
Thank you.
Um, I was talking to somebody about it the other day. I was like, Jay, like, he's really good. He's doing his thing.
But secondly, I was happy because little baby, that's not his demographic. That's not his bag. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, he talks about cooking up in the kitchen, trapping, buying expensive shit. Like,
Right.
but for
Exactly.
him to use his following and his fan base and his platform to kind of bring attention to Black Lives Matter and the movement, I liked it. I appreciate it. And
Right.
so, I mess with it because it's funny because a lot of the artists that you would expect to have released material like a Kendrick Lamar,
Right.
they're silent. So,
Exactly.
when little baby starts talking out about racial injustice and systemic racism and prejudice, it's a problem out here in these streets.
Exactly. So, and that right there, and and I think again, that's where I feel like the beauty of music comes in at, because you got so much music out here that's all over the world. You got so many different genres, and then you have people like yourself who create this big platform for people like myself to be a part of something where it's almost like you get knowledge and you get gems, but at the same time you're able to fully blossom the way that you want to, as well as being continuing to stay on focus, stay on track. So I definitely am glad to see the progression. And I gotta ask you, because we don't talk about it much, but you have artists like Black Trail and XLTOP and Sauce God and people like that. But what is that energy like to see people like Black Trail and XL Top and Sauce God, people like that really gets on stage and just really just like let people have it? Like, what's your response to that?
Well, she's gonna kill me if I don't correct you. It's Exhale TAOP. So you just literally just say out the acronyms. It stands for the art of persuasion. A
Okay.
lot of people do that though. They be like Exhale Top. I'm like, it's Exhale TAOP.
TLP.
But I mean, it's dope, and there are certain artists that come to the events that we refer to as wave babies, and then there are certain people that are wave gang. The
Right.
distinction is a wave baby is somebody who really got their start at Carolina Waves, like their first or second performances were with Carolina Waves and they've grown. So
Right.
somebody like a Black Trail or Red Jones or Exhale, where like they really got their start, they would be considered a wave baby. Somebody like a Ice Boss or gang
Most
because they were already performing and then they started coming to the Carolina Waves events.
most definitely. Most definitely. And
But it's just rewarding to see because people have grown so much, like from Trail's first performances when he had the little baby dreads where they were like this big, and to see him like dominating the stage, and then Exhale especially like has grown so fast.
right.
She's only been doing this for like not even a year. And to just see the consistency, the dedication, the hard work that she has put in throughout this time has been really crazy.
Most definitely. They're saying that you're froze, Mir. I don't know what's going on. They're saying that you're
I'm froze. Okay, because you look froze. So let me leave and come back.
okay. Come right back. All right, guys. I hope you have been enjoying this interview, man. This is getting good, y'all. Like, listen, y'all. Y'all have no idea how happy and how humble it is to have someone like this. A mentor of the scene, a mentor of the waves. Just dropping all these gems. So I hope you guys are catching it, man, because this is not free gems. You know what I'm saying? This is what we do. This is what we love to do, you guys. So I definitely, appreciate every last one of y'all for being in here today. Let's get Mir back, and we're gonna finish this on out, y'all. Let's get it. Episode 108, Independent Scene. Let's get it.
Can
All
you see
right.
me?
Yeah, now I got you.
All right, bet.
All right, so yeah, so like I said, yeah, so you were saying that it was great, seeing people like Excel and Black Trail. Now, let me ask you this, because I don't know if you and I had talked about this, but when it comes to certain shows that you create, and you ask artists to submit their music and things like that. I gotta know what is that process like, getting all of those songs like that, and really, having to go through certain songs to see, as they say, like, which makes the cut, if that makes any sense.
It's overwhelming.
Overwhelming, right?
There's so much music. Like
Right.
I mean, everybody wants to be an artist, and it's so easy to record and make music these days.
Right.
It's the DIY culture. Shouts out to DJ R&B,
Shouts out to DJ R&B. What's
Carolina
good?
DJ of the Year.
Already. Let's, you know what I'm saying? What's up, my guy? Yeah, so, it's crazy because, again, I've been at several of Carolina Waves events, and, it kind of puzzles me because, you're super busy. You're always got something going on. You're always doing something. But what gets me is when others get upset at the fact that you didn't put them on a lineup. And I'm like, bro, you gotta understand. It's not because see, I literally, Mir, I kid you not, I literally had people come to me and be like, yo, can you talk to Mir about getting me on a car? I'm like, bro, listen. It's not the fact that Mir don't fuck with you. It's not the fact that Mir is not trying to get you on the car, but you gotta realize Mir has over 1,000 people hitting her in her DMs on an everyday basis. So I mean, that
We
alone,
even
like,
really want to discuss this topic because, I mean, you niggas need to leave me alone.
I'm weak. Right.
But no. I mean, the reality is, yeah, people do hit me up, and it is hard a lot of times to get on certain shows. Like my curated show, you can't pay me to get on
Right.
it. You can't, you can't bribe me. You can't ask DJ R&B to get you on. Like
Right.
I'm literally handpicking who I want on this lineup for this very specific reason. So
Right.
curated shows, don't even try it. Like
Right.
I've fully vetted those artists. I've seen them perform, and they're more than likely getting paid to be there.
Right.
On the other shows that I do, which are like just regular showcase and open mics, if you get there early and you are like in the first 10 to 15 people, you will get to perform. I also offer priority slots for people who may be coming out of town that want to guarantee their slot and make sure they can perform. And everything sells out really fast. So you really just have to like be on point with subscribing to the notifications. And as soon as you see something drop, go ahead and sign up. The people that are the most dedicated and really want it, they'll get it, period. Red Jones is one of the artists. Big shouts out to the platforms, and see, make sure y'all tap in with them too. Another dope platform out of Charlotte.
Exactly. Shouts out to the platform. What's good?
Yeah. But ultimately it really just takes perseverance.
Right.
And if you want to be an artist in the music industry, you have to have that in endless amounts, because you have to be patient. You're gonna keep being rejected. You're gonna keep being told no. You're gonna keep being told to wait. So if you don't have the energy and the wherewithal to not get upset that you don't get to perform in an open mic when
Right.
you got there late and you didn't sign up early, you need to quit.
Right.
It's not the career for you if you cannot stand just being patient for a few hours. And I always tell people, go to events that you're not performing at, or even if you don't perform, it doesn't matter. Network, take pictures, meet people, get inspiration from the artists that are performing, and take something from somebody that's dope and apply it to your craft. It really is a learning experience. Because like somebody like Red Jones, I remember when he first started coming around, he would literally come straight from work and like working like an hour away. So he would never get there on time to be at the beginning of the sign-up sheet. So by the time I got to him, he would always be like the last person or the second to last person. And it would only be a few people left, because by the end of the show, there's not a lot of people there usually.
Right.
And so, but he didn't let that discourage him. He get up there, he performed, and then, with him being consistent, like I eventually, because, a lot of times if you're consistent and you're coming, like I will add you to be a feature on a showcase or open mic. I will bump you up. It really has to do with consistency, persistence, and good energy. Like, don't get mad at me because you didn't get to perform and I told you to get there early and you got there, you strolled in an hour after the fact. Like, Jay, you've been to events, it'd be a line before the doors open.
Exactly.
Down the block.
It do. It
So,
really do.
if you really want it, like get there like a couple of 1 to 2 hours early at least, so that you can sign up. And be on the list or whatever, because I like to give people the opportunity to perform. But my shows are typically from when doors open 4 hours. From when we start performances, probably about 3. I cannot go any more than that. I see a typical open mic, you might get to 10 to 15 performers. My
Right.
open mics, we get to at least 30 to 40 performers every show. So I cannot physically get to if 70 people, because I usually have a sign up sheet
Right.
and it's 10 slots per sign up sheet. I'll have 10 sheets. I cannot get to 100 artists tonight. I cannot get to 50 artists tonight, but I did get to 30 to 40, which is 95% of more than most of these open mics. And you didn't have to even come out of your pocket for it. If you're just patient, then I'll get to you.
Right.
So, people are just a lot of artists, and the reason that they don't make it and won't make it is because they're entitled and they feel privileged and like somebody is supposed to, give to them, and they don't have to earn their dues. I'm telling you right now, in 2020, it's a lot easier than it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, where you could not do anything without the assistance of a record label. You didn't have platforms that would allow for you to be able to perform and have very real opportunities become a part of that. So people just need to, realize that they are very fortunate to be in the times they're in right now, because you don't need radio, you don't need a record label, you don't need, to have any performance experience to really make it. You can make it off
Right.
the internet, you know? So,
Exactly.
that's what I tell people. You just got to be patient and persevere and wait your turn and support the events whether or not you performing if you want to get ahead, because that's exactly one of the reasons why Exhale is where she is now. She was one of the last people that I would get to again, but she kept coming, and now I'll just book her on the show outright.
Right. And it's funny that you mentioned that because, I think about when I first started this journey and when I first started coming to shows, nobody knew who I was. But to not and that just goes fast forward to go from then to just being somebody that was just a stranger to now being a part of Carolina Waves family, and now having this show and other things like that. It just goes to show that consistency and that determination really did work, and like I said,
And people know you.
yeah, exactly. So,
People recognize you. Yo, that was the dude that was at this show. And a
exactly.
lot of times, that's all that you need. Like, you can run a campaign without performing once. Just show up.
Right, exactly. And,
Show
and
the
people
network.
and people will be quick to tell you like it is, and they say it all the time. They give me praise for it, and I trust me. I definitely appreciate it. People will be like, you're always at the Carolina Waves events. You're always supporting. You're always helping Mir out and stuff like that. And it's just like, yo, like again, that's just what I love to do. So like, to get the advice that I get, to get the tips, and to be able to sit back and watch you work, and also be able to, apply some of that within my own way of working, and running shows and stuff like that. It's really a dope experience, and I definitely, for me, can't thank you enough, because like again, there would never be another you, like you said in the beginning. There would never be another Mir. So like, that's why a lot of times I tell people like, yo, like I said, you just got to be patient, and the more patient that you are, the more so the more Mir will get the opportunity. Ari Quinn was good. The more opportunity, that the chance, the
Good,
opportunity will
Ari.
present itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm a very loyal person, and I am a fan of the underdog, which is really the whole purpose of Carolina Waves in the first place. And I reward people who are consistent and patient and just, are humble with it. If you
Mm-hmm.
roll up to me like, I came all the way from so-and-so and I didn't get to perform, okay, what's your point? These people
Right.
came from Fayetteville, Charlotte, Columbia, South Carolina. They didn't get to perform. This is their second and third time coming. They're just now getting to perform. They didn't make a big deal about it. They absorbed the energy, the experience, they connected, and now they're plugged in. So, when people come at me sideways, you immediately are cut off. Like maybe, in the past, I was more like, forgiving of it, but like, nah, like you're not about to come at me sideways. Like I'll immediately just not fuck with you at all from
Right.
that, because it's just so many artists that are so much more patient
Right.
and deserving of the opportunities and the platforms. And I'm not the end all be all. There are some dope platforms out here. And I've never personally blackballed or blacklisted anybody. I just personally won't fuck with you. And if other people decide not to fuck with you, that's on them.
Most definitely. Okay, so, all right. So real quick, I'm gonna need you to come right back, Mir, because it said we got 53 seconds left. So I'm
Okay.
gonna bring you right back so we can close this out. But guys, thank you for watching part 1 of the Independent Scene episode 108 with your boy Hunter J23 and the one and only Miriam from K9745. Where I'm about to bring her right back, and we're gonna close this thing on out. So I rock with y'all. Let's get it.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.